This is my review on 2016's Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders. It's a really long trying to make this sequel to the first Batman we ever had, that's titled Batman movie from 1966, and this is basically a follow-up to that movie. But just let you know it's a separate story, just in case if you you're going to be a little lost. Don't worry, you won't be. So, separate story, so separate concept of story. So, well, it starts out similar. So it starts out a little similar to the last story for the first installment. How they get all of the greatest villains to team up: Batman and Robin against Joker, Penguin, and Catwoman and Riddler. Survive for his greatest villains. All teaming up. So, after batching the criminals and fighting with them, briefly after batching criminals and getting Batman and Robin getting knocked unconscious and regain conscious, Batman gets scratched from Catwoman, and that's supposed to be some sort of drug that makes Batman give into his dark desires, that makes him corrupt and evil. And some reason it doesn't seem to work at all. So, must have been a bad batch. So, how they got this from the here, it's like how they caught off criminals while they did a bunch of detective work that Batman doesn't do in the other Batman movies. That's the more serious take on Batman. That's Michael Keaton's and Christian Bale's and Ben Affleck's and so on and so on, until we get the Batman when he does do the detective work again. Yeah, it's odd how the only Batman, well, not the only Batman, the last Batman that did detective work was Adam West's Batman. After that, he seemed to give up on being a detective for some fucking reason, I don't know. But then we got Rob Pattinson's Batman and made everything right again. So yeah. This Batman, unlike many live act, and yes, I do consider, hold on, I know this is an anime movie, I do consider this a live adaptation because the first one was live action, and this one's an installment to the first live action movie of Batman, Tell Batman the movie, with Alan West and Burt Ward. So I do this count this as another, as I do, it's like, it's an anime, I do technically count this as a live action movie, I see this as, because it's tied to a live action franchise. So yeah, so I think that's enough said. So we Batman and Robin make their escape from their death trap, and trying search all over Gotham in the sky and sees it on ground and can't find them anywhere in Gotham. Then Batman realized that they're not anywhere on the planet. They're in space. They hopped on a trip on a rocket that took off into space previously. So they take the bat rocket into space for the first time ever, and Barman never think that they would ever need to use it. So he's a little shocked that they're actually using it for the first time ever. So and blast off into space, and Catwoman gets betrayed by her own crew because of her soft spot to Batman, and they'll assume that she will sooner or later turn on them. So they're going to turn on her first because she has a soft spot for Batman and has the hots for him. So Batman saves her after she gets bursts out, gets blasted into space, and catches her. After getting blasted out of this thing called an airlock, I think that's what it's called. So it's some catch that blasts you into space. So, so anyway, Catwoman, Batman, and Robin basically team up because, well, Catwoman got backstabbed by her own crew, so. So Batman says he's going to mop the floor with them, and says hopefully when I'm done with you there'll be enough playing pieces enough for you to go in jail, for your sake. He basically says, and Catwoman and Robin are absolutely horrified. He just said he's going to basically beat them so hard they may not have enough pieces to make it to prison left. So and they could tell he meant it. Oh, and the villains, Penguin and Joker, really point out that they have see us follow the rules and can't actually hurt us like that bad. And Batman asks, "Do I really?" And Robin says, "Yes, but deputized officers." And Batman points out the obvious. Technically, we're outside of the law, not out here. Out here, so here we're going to play by. I play by my rules. So Batman's gone crazy. Oh. So also he fired Alfred because he left the entrance to Batcave unguarded by Aunt Harriet. She wants to discover the secret, so he fired him very cruelly. What he's doing, just kind of how he did it. So yeah, cruel how he kind of just basically said he's dismissed for life. So and the Joker and Penguin and Riddler discovered how to turn off the gravity and turn off the gravity they do when they're in space. So they have to fight them. Robin and Batman have to fight them with out gravity, and Batman's getting a little fed up with them kicking their asses, so he throws a batarang, and it turns the gravity back on. Basically, to turn the gravity back on by pressing with the batarang hitting the button. So Batman basically takes off the gloves by well, not really takes like meth expression. He basically and gets out his pair of brass knuckles to beat Joker and Penguin and Riddler with. And they're all really horrified of him. They're looking like he's gone nuts because he kind of has got a little carried away. Because he's seeing a little personally, so Robin's looks like he's traumatized, and Calvin escaped in an escape pod to Earth. So and Robin says they're okay, Batman says they'll walk again, but alive, yes. Yes, they are. So, basically, they'll be up pretty badly, but they'll live. So, and Batman goes to meet with Commissioner Gordon, Chief O'Hara, with Robin. And Chief O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon are really, really bumbly, incompetent morons, and pretty much lost without Batman. So and because Batman like this because he couldn't take Commissioner and the Chief rambling on and on while they were thanking him, so he just took off without Robin. So, and it's considered getting rid of Aunt Harriet and referred to as Old Broad. And Robin can't take anymore seeing that Batman is like changed, something's wrong with. He's changed so much. Something's off with, and it's like something's off with him. So, because Robin speaks his mind, he kindly gets escorted by Batman out the front door, and kicked out of his own mentor's house that he was living in. So. Because he's worried about Alfred, and asks if Batman's worried about Alfred too, so he basically says, if you're so worried about the old man, why don't you join him? And he just says, dismiss Robin, he just does. And so Batman takes some time off from being Batman to think why Chief O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon are in charge of anything. And confronts them about it, because they can't do anything right. Because he just takes some time off to think about that, and he let the city come apart. Just because you don't know how to do anything and they rely on Batman. So, Batman takes their jobs and duplicates himself with a duplicate ray. It's actually called that. And takes their authority and have them willingly give up their position in power because they're too incompetent. Well, it's about time he finally did that. Well, I can't say I blamed him, because this version of Commissioner Gordon is really incompetent, And Chief O'Hara is also incompetent. So, in this version of but it's from the West Side, so of course they're incompetent. So, yeah, Batman basically takes control of the entire city by taking, duplicating himself and, taking out everyone's jobs from them. That's when things start to get scary. Because now he's like getting more hungry for power and now he wants to take over the world. He said, laugh maniacally a little bit. So, and Robin can't help but think that something's off with Batman, that he's like going down a really dark path. And he can't really focus on his ballet practice. And knows that this is something off with Batman. And then he puts two and two together to realize that Catwoman's potion did work, that did turn Batman evil. It's just working slow. So he suits up and goes to the source, goes to confront Catwoman to get the antidote. And it turns out there was the antidote. It was more of a long shot guess that it was the antidote on his part. So, they team up Catwoman and Robin promises not to kill him. So, because she wanted Batman bad, but she didn't want him this bad of a bad guy. Because I guess it's a little too much for her. No badness that Batman's taking the extreme level of bad, of becoming a bad guy. So, yeah, they team up. Go meet Batman in the Batcave after Batman knows that they're already there. Because he just expected it, and Catwoman gives him the antidote after pretending that she was going to double cross Robin and help Batman kill Robin, and only to double cross Batman, only to basically give him the antidote. And it didn't work because Batman took a bat antidote for the antidote, he calls it. So basically, yeah, Catwoman was right that she did regret it because it didn't work. So Batman chose as Robin to bat utility belt duel and foolishly accepts the challenge and is pretty much a tie. The score is pretty much a tie, and no one's getting the upper hand on anybody. So Catwoman just can't take being patient, and just breaks up the duel and lends Robin a hand. And Batman gets the drop on both of them and knocks them out with bat gas. Bat knockout gas called. So Batman has them wake up over fire. And that's just going to gradually lull them to their doom and burn them alive. So before Batman does that, he is asked of Catwoman if she could get a goodbye kiss from Batman, and he says yes, and Robin's interrupting. Time runs out, so Batman says, "This, I guess we're going to have to continue that kiss in the next cat life." And there's no way out at all because all the options are kind of impossible. So, and Batman storms off in the Batmobile that he will buff up job of the Batmobile, and probably made it faster. So, and so this is when Robin and Catwoman look dead. It's appear to be dead. Robin sprayed him and Catwoman encoded them with this anti-flame stuff, just in case, and have a feeling that this might happen, that Batman would get a drop on them, and the way to survive is if the basically fake their deaths. So, and took precaution while Catwoman was knocked out, so with the back knockout gas. So, then, Robin comes up with this great idea to free all of the prisoners except for Joker, Penguin, and Riddler that backstabbed Catwoman from behind bars. So when I say all Batman's villains, I literally mean all of Batman's villains from the 1960s era of Batman villains. That the show ran for 3 seasons, and there was a decent amount of villains in that. It pretty much has all the villains cameo in this movie. From that show, from this era of Batman, you know? Which kind of surprised me, but was a nice surprise. So, the villains suit up to go take down Batman, and with Robin and Catwoman, and they meet up with the Batman duplicate and the original Batman himself after he's hooked up bombs to each television set. If they try do anything that doesn't involve viewing the channel, the VH television set will explode, basically. And so Batman's kind of lost it. So the villains and Robin go to war with Batman, his clones, and fight them, and it's pretty much a tie. Until the villains start losing. So the army, the back of the cavalry starts losing to clones of Batman, and they lost the fight in this mysterious figure gives Batman this note that's basically saying the champagne bottle is a gift for being the new host of the television channel. So he drinks it, and turns out it was the antidote that makes Batman good again. So and turns out the mysterious figure that gave that to him was nobody else than Alfred Pennyworth himself. So it's revealed that after Catwoman gets taken away, and then Batman realizes that his whole scene of him basically turning bad was basically nearly a distraction for Penguin and Riddler and the Joker, while the clones of them that were stable clones like the Batman clones were in prison and behind bars, and the real ones are still out there and trying to figure out where and what they are doing and what's their end game. So Robin figures it out, and Batman was coincidentally seeing the same thing, and they go to the Batmobile, and Catwoman meets them up in the meets with them into the Batmobile, and wants in on the action. So she tags along for the climax to stop Joker, Penguin, and Riddler in this sort of a balloon heist after the fight in the streets of it, and it turns into a heist in the sky where they're running in this blimp. The